All right. All right, so we got some attendees coming in. Gonna set up the PowerPoint. I think we should be just about ready.
Okay.
All right, the time is 6:04. We're going to start the Board of Zoning Appeals April workshop. We're going to be discussing the upcoming April 28th agenda. We don't have any new business, only pending business. So the first item, 41 South Pine, we have an interpretation, a set of interpretations and variances. The staff has withdrawn the denial based on the compatibility of infill and new development. So that has actually been removed in this workshop. So we're left with the design and materials requests for interpretation and variances. So we're removing one interpretation and one variance. And this is for the demolition and rebuilding of the replacement porch with the lower portion of columns with masonry supports and relocating steps from the left offset to the center offset. I did receive an updated PowerPoint from Dan Hirschberg, but the PowerPoint didn't include anything that wasn't already included in the previous PowerPoint, looks like. So we don't really have much of new information to go over except staff's decision to remove one of the reasons for denial and a proposed or a letter of support from the Pine Hills Neighborhood Association. So I can go through the previous PowerPoint for the previous workshop, or if there are any additional questions from the board, I can relay that to the applicant.
Yeah, I think we've gone through the presentation a couple of times at this point. And let me ask, are there any questions from the board members about this case for anything that we haven't asked already?
I don't have any. I was able to ask my questions at our hearing.
Okay. In that case, why don't we?
We asked for more information, no? Didn't we ask for something?
I didn't get anything from the applicant. They sent me a PowerPoint for the hearing in relation to the variances and presumably the interpretation, but I haven't gotten any additional information to be added to the record apart from just the PowerPoints.
And the neighborhood letter.
Right.
Okay.
I can't remember, Martin, I don't know, or Louis or anyone else. We asked for some more information about
we did ask questions as far as whether the wood porch, like the actual material for the porch, was being retained. I believe it is. I had a question about the posts because it looked like on the edges they were half post, half like 2x4, but they said that was the architect's intent to illustrate what was decorative versus what was a support, and that the posts, the columns will still be fully intact up to the roof. And the roof line in detail isn't changing. It's simply a byproduct of the design program that they were using, that it populated a standard roof. And the elements that really needed the board's attention were those that were related to the porch itself, the use of the bluestone, and the stairs. So I didn't have any other questions for the applicant beside that, and I don't think I was expecting them to submit anything else, but we had just received the letter in support of the neighborhood association, so we didn't have time to look at that or publicly notice that on the record. So those are the only things in my memory that we went over at the last time we met.
Okay, thank you for the
Mhm.
refresher.
And I could be wrong, but to my recollection, that was the sum of the discussion.
Thanks, Martin. In that case, we all need to consider the neighborhood association letter when we bring this back to a public hearing. If we want to ask any questions based on the letter, we can do that. But I would assume that we should be able to take some action on this at the next meeting, finally. Okay.
So that would conclude the new information for 41 South Pine, and the other two cases, 1415 Washington Avenue and 255 Clinton Avenue, are not able to be motioned by the board as of yet. The planning board has not made a seeker determination. I don't even think they've declared lead agency yet either. I may be wrong on that, but yeah, we're a ways away from them having to make a determination in order for the board to be able to motion. So those actions will just remain on the pending agenda until that time.
Is it normal for them to take so long to move on this?
I think the applications were submitted in conjunction with each other. There was some information being sought regarding the easement there, and I think there's also discussions being done regarding improvements to pedestrian access and infrastructure. So I think that that's involving some external communications and might be prolonging the subject as well.
Okay.
Do we have any sense from the planning board when they may declare lead agency and bring us to a motion to accede to the planning board becoming lead agency, and B, act properly upon these?
I don't. I've been following up with Zach on our meetings weekly, and my understanding is that they're still in communication about the pedestrian infrastructure and also about possibly the archaeological disturbance or
the easement.
well, not the easement, but for 255 Clinton Avenue, um, the disturbance of ground requiring further review according to the historic district standards or the archaeological district. I'm not sure if it's in the archaeological district, but I believe it has something to do with it being in historic district and disturbing the ground area. So there might be some further review required on that part.
Has the archaeologist come in and looked at the site yet?
I'm not sure if they're requiring a phase 1 A or B. I can look into that with Aaron Glennon, our senior preservation planner.
Okay.
But I believe that discussions were leaning towards that. But I'm not sure if I have the answer for you today. So I'll get that for you for the next meeting.
Okay. Then I'm going to give a call to Al DeSalvo, but if you could talk to the chief planning official and tell him that we should remove 1415 and 255 from our agenda. They're not pending. We haven't acted on them properly. We can't act on them, so you might as well just take them off until the planning board does something, because this is not a case of us not acting. It's a case of us, not being able to act on things that are not properly before us.
I'll relay the message.
Okay.
And the same would apply for 36 Judson. Yeah, I've not received any further information from the applicants on their negotiation status, so the item is still outstanding.
Yeah, Philip, have you heard anything internally at the law department as to whether there's any progress on the negotiation, or do they want to continue to have us keep this in extended status?
I have not heard anything about that. I think that they do want you to keep it in extended status. I don't remember. Admittedly, I don't. We haven't talked about this in a little while because my predecessor, Amy, before she left, is really the last time we actually discussed it in length. So I can get back to you if need be about what the law department wants to do.
Yeah, please. At some point, and I think you mentioned this once before, Martin, and I actually argued this in a case in my day job. The facts that were in front of us will become stale to the point that we shouldn't use them as a basis for a decision, because this has been God, I don't know, what, 8 months now, 9 months in pending?
right before the shutdown. Because I remember it was a very packed house. So you all
You're right.
recall.
You're right. Yeah.
Right,
So it
that
was February-ish of
Yeah.
2020. So we're up on 14 months. All right. I'll talk to if you can talk to the corporation council,
Yeah.
Philip, and I'll talk to David Gowan and see what's going on, and that we
Absolutely.
should probably either withdraw this or seek refreshed facts. And I don't mean to imply that we can't rule upon the facts that are before us, but at some point, up-to-date facts are probably useful. Okay, that's it then, Louis, right?
Yep, that would conclude the agenda.
Okay, does anyone on the board have anything that they want us to talk about before Luis lets us all go?
I have some like non-official news that I can share with other board members.
Oh, please.
I don't know that it needs to be recorded, so I don't know.
Okay, then why don't we close the record, Luis, because we're not going to take any official action. And
Stop the
council
share.
will put the, so let me bang my gavel that the meeting is over for tonight. Thank you. And council will put the seal of silence over it while we're at it.
Luis, do you want to stop sharing the
Yeah,
screen?
yeah. So
I
this
can't
concludes.
see.
Yep, this concludes the workshop. Thank you for calling, everyone. The next hearing will be April 28th. You're welcome to come at that point. Thank you for coming. Good evening. I'm just going to go ahead and stop the recording.